So, Krishna expressed to his mother that he wants to marry Radha. His mother said, she's not an appropriate girl for you because she's 5 years older than you and she's already betrothed to somebody else. The man that she's been betrothed to, who is engaged to, he is fighting in Kamsa's army. He's gone for a campaign, a war, so he's not come back. He's still alive and he's fighting elsewhere. So when he comes back, he will claim his bride. You cannot marry that girl. And that's not the kind of daughter-in-law that I'm looking for anyway. Because she's low-born or she's just a cowgirl. You are the chief's son. We must find an appropriate bride for you. Krishna said, I don't know all these things of appropriateness. From the moment she saw me, she has loved me and she has lived in me. So, I want to marry this girl. This argument went on between mother and son, and mother had no words to say, so she reported to the father, this boy wants to marry this girl who is not okay because she's so bold and goes around the village dancing with all the boys. For those times, you can imagine the society those times. So, Nanda, who is a very kind-hearted man and who's totally at awe with his son, tried to speak to him and Krishna insisted. Then Nanda thought it's time to take him to the Guru so that let him speak. So Gargacharya and his disciple, who was to be Krishna's teacher, Sandipani, were there and they said, your purpose of life is different. It has been prophesied that you are the deliverer, you are the savior of dharma in this world. So, you are not to marry this cowgirl, you have a calling. But Krishna said, what kind of calling is this about dharma? You want me to establish dharma. But is it right to start this campaign for dharma with adharma? You're talking about establishing righteousness in the society. Is it good to start this with an unrighteous act? The Guru Gargacharya said, whoever asked you to do anything unrighteous? So Krishna said, 8 years ago, when I was tied to a mortar, when this girl came and set her eyes upon me, from that moment, I am the source of her life. Her heart beats for me, her every cell in her body beats for me. Not for one moment she has lived without me. If she doesn't see me for a day, she is half dead. She has completely lived in me and I have lived in her. Now, if I go away, she will definitely die. I want you to know this, that when that snake came and that situation happened, if I had died there… See, everybody else thinks Krishna is invincible, he cannot die, but he is conscious of his mortality. He says, if I had died there, I would have left many broken hearts in this village, I know that. But Radha would have died right there. Gargacharya asked, are you not exaggerating this whole thing? Krishna said, no, I am not exaggerating. This is the truth. I know this is the truth. So, Gargacharya said, you are the deliverer, you are supposed to go there and do this and that. Krishna said, I don't wish to be a deliverer. I just love the cows and the bulls and the men and the women and the boys and the girls and the mountain and the trees here. I don't wish to go and deliver anything. I just want to live here. I'm in love with people, I'm in love with things around here. I just want to live here. I don't want to save anybody, I don't want to deliver anybody. I just want to live here. Then Gargacharya thought it's time to reveal the truth about his birth. So Gargacharya talked about the prophecy that Narada Muni had made, and Krishna is not Nanda and Yashoda's son. For the first time they revealed to him. He's been living with them from his birth, so suddenly they told him that he is not their child. So Krishna just stood there silently, and he went through a whole metamorphosis within himself. And always there has been something that's been stirring up within himself, which he brushed it aside and went on with the life that's happening. The moment they said this, so many things came up within him. And he requested the Guru, please tell me more. Then Gargacharya said, Narada has clearly identified you, all the signs indicate it's you. And you have exhibited all the qualities that Narada talked about. Everything is right, you are that person that has been talked about by many sages, and Narada has fixed the date, time and place, and you fit into all that, it can't be wrong. Then this emotion, this love that he has for this girl and the community and the people, he is deeply committed to the community that he is living in. He is in a deep sense of love and involvement with people around him. But this whole this whole revelation of that he doesn't belong here, he's somebody else's son and he's destined to do something else, all this descended upon him with such force. He just stood there silently and then slowly walked towards Mount Govardhan. A hill like this, he just walked up to the topmost point and just stood there, looking at the sky. The sun was setting, looking at the setting sun. Suddenly a tremendous sense of empowerment went through him. This was his moment of enlightenment and reminder. He just stood there for many hours, realizing and experiencing so much within himself. When he walked down that hill, he was a completely different person altogether. That playful cowboy was gone. Suddenly, there was a new serenity about him. There was a new sense of a completely new sense of dignity and divinity about him. When he walked down, all these days, these people who just played with him, who enjoyed his dance and music, suddenly they began to bow down to him. He did nothing. He just went up the mountain, stood there for a few hours and walked down. Suddenly anybody who saw him started bowing down to him, not knowing what they're doing. He knew he had to leave. But before he left, this was not a full moon. The last full moon rasa is over, but he organized an unscheduled rasa. He wanted to just for once dance and sing with his people. So he sang and danced, and everybody knew he's leaving. Radha just worked herself into such a frenzy of ecstasy and bliss within herself, it just didn't matter to her. She just transcended the normal limitations of emotion and became so ecstatic and wild-eyed that nothing mattered to her. So Krishna went to her, he knew what it means to her. So he went to her, held her, and he pulled out his flute from his waistband and gave it to her. This flute is only for you, no more flute for me. Never again he played flute in his life. He just gave it to her. From that day onwards, Radha started playing flute like Krishna. Krishna never again played the flute.